Welcome students to this new part of this series in which we are discussing actually about the forces or the motion of fluid around a solid sphere. And in the last lecture we saw that again I am giving you a recap that there was a sphere and it was in a fluid which has the velocity this. So definitely if this fluid is going in this direction, so it will put a force F on the sphere. So we derived various means we used the techniques that you know in this chapter, and then we arrived at this discussion that this was the total force acting in this direction. So I am writing it again. So this is the expression that we got, and when we will analyze this, then we will find that this is nothing but buoyant force that we can show with this notation, and this is actually the kinetic force. I mean to say that when in a body of liquid, if you put a sphere, then even if the sphere is not moving or the fluid is not moving, this force will always be there. Buoyant force will always be there, and this force, this is the kinetic force, and it will exist only when the sphere is moving or the fluid is moving. For example, you put like this, fluid is flowing in a pipe and you put here the sphere, then only this force will act. Or even the fluid is static and only the sphere is moving, then the sphere will have this force on it. So this is called kinetic force. So in a way, that total force you can say, and this kinetic force, if we can write it this way, 6 only kinetic force I am writing here. So this is called actually Stokes law. Stokes law, and valid only for Reynolds number. That is very important when it is less than 0.1, less than or equal to 0.1, and if it is greater than 0.1, for example, if NRE is 10, then this law will give you errors. And what is NRE? NRE is, as you already know, rho Vd, Reynolds number is rho Vd by mu. Same way you can write here, rho V is the velocity of fluid, relative velocity you can say this is, because many times only sphere may be moving in the fluid may be at rest. So it is rather called relative velocity of this system, you can say, of the sphere. So this is your Stokes law, and this Stokes law will be used in many industrial problems. We will see later in this video lecture. So very good application of this Stokes law is falling ball viscometer. What we do here is that we take a vertical cylinder. This is your vertical cylinder, and in this we have some liquid filled like this, and here you can say that you have a scale, and then we have a small ball, a sphere, that this ball we put here in this liquid and let it fall freely, and we note down the time. Suppose from here we take, and this time we take, what is the time taken by with the help of stopwatch, and the length on the scale you can measure. So what you can measure here, the velocity of at what velocity it is falling, and actually you know that after some time of falling here, it will get a static velocity, or you can say steady velocity, that will not change with time, and this velocity is called terminal velocity. So means when it will start falling, its velocity will increase, but after certain time it will become stable. So that's why we take the velocity after some this distance, so that we are sure that it is the terminal velocity, and it is called Vt. So when we have measured terminal velocity with the help of this equipment, then we can put it in the Stokes law to find the viscosity of the fluid. Let's see what we do. So here is the schematic of this system here, and what is going on here is that the sphere is falling with a constant velocity Vt, that is called terminal velocity, and at this time if it is not accelerating or the velocity is stable, it means that the net force is 0. It means that forces are well balanced. And what are these forces? Buoyant force, kinetic force, and the gravity force. These are balancing each other. So I am writing it this way. So here I have written is, this is the weight of the sphere, and this is the buoyant force, and this is the Stokes law expression. Here this velocity is terminal velocity, so I have replaced this with this terminal velocity. Now we will put the value of m here. Suppose the density of the sphere, solid material, that is this, it's rho s, and the density of the fluid that is outside it is rho. So what will be the mass of this sphere? That is the density into volume of the sphere. And now we can put here the volume, rho s 4 by 3 pi r cube g. The same way we can find the buoyant force, and buoyant force is equal to the weight of the liquid that has been replaced by the solid material. And now again the here will come density of the solid fluid, then the volume of the replaced liquid will be equal to the sphere and g, and here comes the this again. So finally we got this relation. Now we will simplify this relation, and we can simplify it more by this way, and finally you will get this expression. Now this expression can be written in terms of terminal velocity like this, 2 r square rho s, this, or it can be written in terms of viscosity. So this way, if we know the terminal velocity with the help of this equipment, you can put the terminal velocity here, and all this data you know already. This and radius of the sphere you can measure, so you can get the viscosity of the fluid. This is one method, and it is called falling ball viscometer. So after this problem, I will take the problem from your book, that is 2A4. This is the question in the problem section of your book, and the problem is, so this is the problem 2.4, loss of catalyst particles in stake gas. Estimate the maximum diameter of microspherical catalyst particles that could, it is like this, could be lost in the stake gas of a fluid cracking unit under the following conditions. Gas velocity has been given, gas viscosity is given, density is given, density of catalyst particles are given, and they are saying that you need to find the radius in micron, and they are also asking if this Stokes law is valid here or not. So we will have this problem now. So you can see this problem this way, that suppose this is kind of some reactor, and they are calling it fluid cracking unit. So here this you see that these are spherical catalyst particles, and it is your stake, that is chimney. You are having reaction here, or you can say that you are burning something here, with the catalyst you are having some reaction, and these are the gases that are formed, like fumes, or you can say smoke. You can compare it with that. So what will happen, that these gases will take these catalyst particles with them also. For example, you burn coal, then small particles are also come in the smoke. So same condition is this. They are giving the velocity of this stake gas, and they are saying that what is the maximum diameter maximum diameter of this catalyst that will be lost in this stake gas, because they will come out and it means that you will lose them. And what is here that there are different sizes of this catalysts. Some are bigger and some are smaller. So these big catalyst particles will not come out of this reactor because of the gravity, but there will be some small particles that will come out of that. So you can say that there will be some size range from very small particles to some like particles in middle. So you can say that this range of the catalyst particle will be lost in the stake gas, and these particles are bigger, so because of the gravity they will not come out. So what you have to do in this question, you have to find the maximum size, that is here. What is this d maximum of that particle that will be lost in this? So here I have taken the data, and this is the Vt is the velocity of gas in the stake, and it will be taken as the terminal velocity here. And actually in your book you will see that the unit is FPS, but I have converted it to CGS unit, and then you can write it in MKS unit. That will be, so this is the conversion to final this MKS unit. And the CP, for example, you can say that it can be converted by multiplying it by 10 to the minus 3 into MKS, Pascal second. Now we will apply the formula. This is the formula, and here you can replace R with d by 2, because diameter is the thing that we have to calculate, or you can do it later also, but I am replacing it right now here. So this is the formula. Now because unknown here is d, so we will write so that d comes into left hand side. So this is the formula that you have applied, and now you put all these values in this from here, these MKS units. So after calculation, what you will get, when you will calculate it, you will get after calculation you will get this. This is the diameter of the particles, and if you will multiply it by 10⁶, you can get the result in microns. So in micron it is 110 micron are the particles that will be lost in your gas. Now the second part, it is this: is it permissible to use Stokes law? So here we will get the Reynolds number. For calculating Reynolds number, second part, we will write the formula rho v d by mu, because and here is the velocity of fluid v d, and actually it is terminal velocity in our case. So put all these values from that data, and what you will get after that, 0.93. okay, but so in our question means I mean to say that the Stokes law is valid only for Reynolds number less than 0.1, but here we are having Reynolds number 0.93. So we can say that our result will be approximately correct. Means we will not be able to solve it to give exact value of diameter, but approximately we can say. And actually we are interested in approximated values. Exact values are not necessary. So we can say, we can make a very rough estimate that 110 micrometer particles will be lost in our stake gas. So we have learned that when your Reynolds number is greater than 0.1, then there will be error in your result. And if you will see your book, you will find that it is written here that at Reynolds number nr is equal to 1, Stokes law predicts a force that is about 10% too low. So you can say that this formula will give you correct result only for the creeping flow, that is Reynolds number less than 0.1. It is also called Stokes law or Stokes flow. So this way we finish this lecture here, flow around a solid sphere. Thank you very much.